The Xiaomi 17 Pro Max is shaping up to be the most distinctive rival to Samsung's upcoming Galaxy S26 Ultra, thanks to its bold secondary screen design. Unlike other flagships, Xiaomi has integrated a sizable display directly into the rear camera module, making competing smartphones instantly feel dated. Meanwhile, Apple's iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max introduced a massive camera bump, something the Galaxy S26 Edge is rumored to adopt next year. Xiaomi has taken a similar approach with a large rectangular island, but instead of just housing lenses, it features a functional screen. This module packs the main and periscope cameras within the display, alongside another sensor and an LED flash. Official teasers from Xiaomi confirm the design, showing the secondary display in action. The preview reveals multiple functions, most notably the ability to display a clock, strongly suggesting it's a touchscreen, reminiscent of the Xiaomi 11 Ultra. The potential uses are exciting, particularly for photography, opening up unique possibilities similar to Samsung's Galaxy Z Flip. That said, Samsung isn't sitting still. The Galaxy S26 Ultra and the rest of the S26 lineup are set for a complete design overhaul, including the comeback of the camera bump. A fresh leak has given us a glimpse at what's coming, and the next-gen lineup is shaping up to be a real showstopper. Both the Galaxy S26 Pro and Galaxy S26 Ultra are moving to a camera island design, a major departure from the clean, minimalist setups of recent Galaxy S phones. The Ultra will retain its signature telephoto lens, LED flash, and TOF sensor, but now packaged within this new island layout. The Galaxy S26 Edge, on the other hand, appears to have been crafted to directly challenge Apple's upcoming iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max. It features a massive camera island that stretches across the back, housing a dual camera setup alongside an LED flash. This information comes from a leak shared by tipster PhoneArt, Universe Ice, who revealed third-party camera films for the Pro, Edge, and Ultra. The designs align with earlier CAD-based renders, though well-known leaker Steve, on Leaks, has yet to drop his take on the Ultra's look. Beyond design changes, the Galaxy S26 lineup is also tipped to receive notable hardware tweaks. The Pro and Edge models may see a 300 mAh battery capacity boost, while the Ultra could stick with its existing battery and charging specifications. Apple has finally pulled the curtains off the iPhone 17 and iPhone 17 Pro series, bringing some serious hardware flex for 2025. But here's the real question. Can Apple's shiny new A19 Pro chip actually stand toe-to-toe with Samsung's Galaxy S25 Ultra, armed with the Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy? Let's pit them against each other and see who walks out with bragging rights. Galaxy S25 Ultra versus iPhone 17 Pro, CPU battle, Geekbench edition. Geekbench isn't the real world, but it's the playground where chips show off their raw horsepower. And boy, did these two flex differently. Galaxy S25 Ultra, Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy, Android 15 plus One UI 8. Single core, 2996, multi-core, 9531, iPhone 17 Pro, A19 Pro iOS 26. Single core, 13674, multi-core, 824. Who wins? In single core, Apple's iPhone 17 Pro straight up sprints past the S25 Ultra, being about 22.63% faster. Renowned Samsung tipster Ice Universe apps was a drag race. The iPhone's already at the finish line, Galaxy Samsung is still revving the engine. And this one, but when it comes to small change on Samsung claws, but in reality, running about 8% transform how the phone feels in your hand. If you throw 100 tabs, video editing, and gaming at the same time, the Galaxy has more rounded front middle frame. Under the hood, the Galaxy S25 Ultra packs Qualcomm's Snapdragon sharper, boxy edges we've been used to. The company's first chip built on TSMC's shiny 3nm process. More refined curve. Think of it as Qualcomm's attempt to hit the gym and bulk up. This isn't just iPhone 17 Pro. It could make the device far more comfortable during long hours of use, TSMC while also giving it a cleaner, modern aesthetic. Apple's more like the kid who doesn't show up to the gym often. The Galaxy S26 Ultra is also rumored to be slimmer than its predecessor, coming in at just 7.9mm thick. But the software flavors the S25 Ultra's 8.2. Android lovers get the flexibility of One UI 8 on Android 15. Is that Samsung might be pulling this off without shrinking the battery lockdown world of iOS 26. Tweaks to charging speed. If you care about snappiness, the iPhone 17 Pro subtle changes, lightning bolt, but they highlight how Samsung endurance under heavy loads. Attention, the Galaxy S25 Ultra is your workhorse. That make a big difference. At the end of the day, It's less about
with
benchmarks
leaks starting to ramp
and
up,
more
the
about whether
Galaxy
you want
S26
Siri judging in
series,
your life
which will
choices,
reportedly
or
include the
Bixby pretending
S26
it
Pro,
understands you.
S26 Edge,
They said
and
Samsung
S26
couldn't
Ultra
surprise
is
us
shaping up to be
anymore.
one of
And
the
then
most
this
refined
happened.
lineups yet.
The Galaxy
Leaker Sunny
S26
Dixon
Ultra
just
isn't
gave us
even
our
out
very
yet,
first
and
look
already
at the Galaxy
Universe,
S26 series,
one of the most accurate
and trust
Samsung
me,
insiders,
this one's
has
interesting.
dropped bombshell
You're
leaks
looking
that
at
will
dummy
change
leaks
how you
that
see
hint
this phone.
Samsung might be chasing
On paper,
Apple's design
the
language
S26
for its
Ultra looks like a
2026
beast,
flagship
but it also
lineup.
comes with a decision
Instead
from
of the
Samsung
usual
that's already
S26
sparking
and
controversy.
S26 Plus,
Let's start with
Samsung
RAM.
is rumored to launch
According to
three
Ice
models:
Universe,
the Galaxy S26
Ultra
Pro,
will pack
S26 Edge, and the S26 all
RAM,
expected
the
to
same
arrive in
blazing
February
fast type as the
2026.
S25
Now
Ultra.
here's the twist.
But here's the
The
kicker.
alleged Galaxy
The capacity
S26
might
Edge
still be
dummy
stuck
looks
at
heavily
12
inspired by the
gigabytes. Now,
iPhone
don't get me
17
wrong,
Pro.
12 gigabytes
It's
is more than
rocking a
enough for
huge
almost
camera
anyone.
island
You can
across the
open
top,
dozens of apps,
stretching nearly
run heavy
30%
games,
of the
edit
back panel,
4K videos,
very
and
similar
never
to
feel the
Apple's
phone
design.
slow down. Meanwhile,
But in
the
a
Galaxy
world where Android
S26 Pro
flagships
and
like the
S26
Xiaomi
Ultra
Ultra,
seem to
OnePlus
retain that
15,
classic
and
Samsung
even
vibe,
Google's
but with
Pixel 10
changes.
series are
The
pushing
Pro might get
16
a
GB
rear
as a
camera
minimum
island,
and going all
much
the way
like
up to
what we've seen
24
on
GB.
recent Galaxy A series
Samsung's
phones.
decision could make
And
the
the
S26 Ultra look
it's dropping the
well,
sharp boxy
underpowered
look.
on paper.
Instead,
the
and here's
corners
the
are now
twist,
noticeably
the
more
only
rounded
other major
compared to
phone
the
still
S25
doing less than
Ultra.
12 gigabytes
Camera-wise,
is the iPhone,
don't
sitting
expect
at
a
just
total
8
redesign.
gigabytes.
The sensor
Arrangement
RAM
stays the
left you a
same as
little
the
underwhelmed.
S25
The
series,
next leak will
but
blow you
Samsung may
away.
add a raised
Remember
bump
last
for the
week's
main
One
3
UI
lenses,
8.5
while the
leak?
flash and smaller
Buried in that
lenses
info
stay
was a
separate.
gem. The
Another
S26
big
Ultra
upgrade,
will jump to
the
60-watt
dummies
wired
hint
charging,
at full
a massive leap from the
wireless
45-watt charging on
support.
the S25 Ultra.
That means magnets
That's
built
a
right inside the phone,
speed boost,
popped,
so no
but
need for
numbers
extra
on a spec
accessories
sheet
to get that
don't
magnetic
tell the whole
wireless
story.
charging experience. Ice Universe
Just
just revealed
Samsung's
these are just
official
early
charging
dummy
times,
leaks,
and they are
may
seriously
or may
impressive.
not be the final
The
design.
5,000
And
milliamp
we'll
hour
get more
battery
solid
in the S26
confirmation
Ultra
once
can
CAD
reportedly
renders start
hit
surfacing.
75
But if this holds
80% in
true,
just 30 minutes.
Samsung's
And that's
S26
Samsung's
lineup
conservative
could
claim.
be one of the most
The tipster says in
Apple-inspired
reality,
Galaxy
it could
generations
actually
we've
hit
seen
90%.
yet.
So
In that
Samsung
same
fans,
half
we
hour,
need to talk about something
for
important.
context,
If
the
you were hoping that the
S25
Galaxy
Ultra topped out at
S26 Ultra would finally
bring us a brand new main camera
sensor,
sensor, I've got some news for
could
you.
cut
And it
charging
might
time
not
by
be
25%
exactly what you were
compared to
expecting.
last year.
According to
A
Ice
difference
Universe,
you'll feel
the
every single
S26
day.
Ultra
And while
is
it's
not
still
getting
won't
that
match
fresh
the
insane
200
100
megapixel
watt
sensor.
plus charging
Yeah,
speeds of
I know.
some
That
Chinese
sounds like a
rivals.
bit of a letdown at
Samsung is
first.
finally
Instead,
closing the
Samsung
gap.
is sticking with the exact
Based
same
on these
ISOCELL
numbers,
HP2
we might
sensor
even be
that
looking
we've
at a
seen
full
since the
0
Galaxy
100%
S23
charge
Ultra.
in about
It's
45
a
minutes.
1.3
Something
inch
Samsung
sensor,
fans have
and
been
while
waiting
it has
years
served us
for.
well for
The
years,
Galaxy
people were
S26 Ultra
expecting
might not
Samsung
win
to jump
every
to something
spec battle
even
on
bigger
paper,
this time,
but with
like
a
that
massive
rumored
charging
1.1 inch
One
200
UI
megapixel
8.5
Sony
out of the
sensor.
box,
But
and
nope,
Samsung's
it looks like
proven
Samsung
stability,
isn't ready
it's
to
shaping
ditch
up
the
to be one of the
HP2
most
just yet.
refined
Now,
and
before you roll
balanced
your eyes and
flagships
say,
of
well,
2025.
that's boring.
Hold
The
on,
only
because
question
Samsung is actually
will
planning a
12
pretty
gigabytes
major
of RAM
upgrade
be
to the
enough to
lens
satisfy
itself. This could change the way this sensor performs in a
flexing
big way.
24 gigabyte
Instead
monsters.
of the f1.7 aperture that we had on the Galaxy S25 Ultra, Samsung is reportedly going with an f1.4 aperture. And that's not just a small tweak, that's a 47% increase in the amount of light hitting the sensor. What does that mean for you? Well, in low light situations, this is huge. More light equals better night photography, sharper details, brighter images, and less noise. It's the kind of thing that could make night mode shots look way closer to what your eyes actually see. And if you've ever struggled with blurry night photos, this kind of lens upgrade is exactly what you'd want. But here's where it gets even more interesting. A wider aperture like f1.4 isn't always the best choice for bright daylight shots. Sometimes, too much light can actually wash out the details. That's why Samsung might be bringing back one of the coolest features from the past, the dual aperture system. Remember the Galaxy S10 series? The S10, the S10 Plus, and even the S10e had this feature, where the camera could switch between f1.5 and f2.4 depending on the lighting. It was such a clever idea, but for some reason, Samsung abandoned it in later models. Now, Ice Universe is saying that Samsung might resurrect that dual aperture feature, or at least introduce some kind of variable aperture system, similar to what we've seen from other smartphone brands. If that happens, you'd get the best of both worlds. f1.4 for those dim, nighttime environments, and a narrower aperture for daytime shots when you want maximum sharpness and depth of field. That could really push the S26 Ultra's photography game to the next level without even needing a brand new sensor. And let's not forget, the sensor itself isn't exactly outdated. The ISOCELL HP2 is still one of the most powerful sensors on the market. It supports crazy high resolution, detailed zoom, and it's been fine-tuned by Samsung over the last few years. Vivo. Yeah, you heard that right. Samsung might actually be building a more powerful camera for Vivo than the one it's putting inside its own Galaxy S26 Ultra. Let's break this down, because the details are pretty wild.
According to new reports, Vivo is preparing to launch its next flagship, the Vivo X300, and it could debut with a brand new 200 megapixel main camera. But here's the twist. It's being supplied by none other than Samsung itself. The sensor is reportedly called the ISOCELL HPB. Now, this isn't the rumored HP10 successor. It's actually an upgraded version of Samsung's HP9, but customized specifically for Vivo. And apparently the B in HPB stands for Blue Factory, which is Vivo's nickname. So essentially, Samsung is letting Vivo launch a custom-built 200 megapixel beast before Samsung even puts anything like it inside its own phones. Now, what makes this HPB sensor so exciting? First, it supports ultra-clear 200 megapixel shots at a 23 millimeter focal length. On top of that, it can deliver 50 megapixel ultra-clear images at 50 millimeter zoom. This gives Vivo's upcoming flagship a massive advantage in terms of detail, flexibility, and overall camera performance. And here's where it gets really spicy. While Vivo is getting this next-gen custom sensor, Samsung's very own Galaxy S26 Ultra is reportedly sticking with a much smaller 1/2.55-inch telephoto sensor. That puts the S26 Ultra's zoom game behind Vivo's, at least based on what we know right now. Think about that for a second. Samsung, the same company that supplies the world with some of the most advanced camera sensors, is holding back on its own flagship, while giving Vivo a cutting-edge customized sensor. That's not the move you'd expect when competition with Apple is heating up and the iPhone 17 Pro is about to raise the bar again in mobile photography. Now let's talk about the Galaxy S26 Ultra for a moment. From what we've heard, the phone is scheduled to launch around February 2026. That's still a while away, but the leaks suggest Samsung isn't really making any major upgrades to the other three cameras compared to the S25 Ultra. The only real focus right now seems to be on software and AI. And don't get me wrong, Samsung's AI push is huge and definitely going to define the next generation of Galaxy phones. But here's the question. Is that enough to keep Samsung competitive if its hardware isn't keeping pace?